concerns a subject which is so alien from anything that we understand in the West that it may stretch your skulls a little. I don't know. Because, of course, integration means that you get two aspects of yourself together and acknowledge them both as you, the conscious and the unconscious. The power of the ego and the power of the natural organism or the psyche. And so in every art one realizes there comes a point where your will is exhausted. You've tried everything to make something work, and it won't work. And then to achieve the perfection of the art, something has to happen of itself, which we variously call grace, inspiration, or tariki. And the problem that everybody's always wanted to know is how to make that happen.
Welcome everyone. I am Hans Gavedo, and this is Stories to Tell Your Girlfriend, a small project being worked upon by yours truly, where I tell stories of different genres that I would love to read to my girlfriend. I hope you enjoy, and thank you guys for watching. So our first story comes from Reddit user Dacking Trex. It's titled It Could Happen to Anybody. I am a very nice man. I'm polite to strangers, I'm friendly to children, and most people live with the impression that I was an all around great guy. But would you like to know something about me other than how nice I am? First, let me ask another question. What's the last thing you really expect from a nice guy? It's that he's actually a terrible person. You just don't see that kind of thing coming. You know it happens. I'm sure you've even heard of someone close to you experiencing it personally. A nice guy turning out to be a scumbag or an asshole. And yet you just don't expect that kind of thing to actually happen with someone you yourself know. That's why you're tied up right now, Samantha. That's why your sister's dead body is in that bag over there. It's because when you two needed someone to drive you home from a party, but you didn't want to call your parents nor risk going home drunk, you called the nicest and most reliable guy you know. It's because when you two needed someone to drive you home from a party, and of course, I said I'd be right over. Just like all the other times you've needed my help. I'm always there for you, Samantha. You knew that. Samantha, you really can't be blamed. No, 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 no. Don't cry. You never could have known, Samantha. Not for a moment. You just couldn't expect the same guy that helped you through two horrible breakups and even the death of your dearly departed grandmother. Bless her soul in heaven, by the way, would ever hurt you unprovoked. That I'd stab your sister in her neck and slam your head on the dashboard of my car as you started to scream. It probably scared you. I apologize for that. It must have been so terrifying when the man who made you dinner 2 days ago for your graduation, which is amazing, you know, first in the family, hurt you like I did. That's because I'm a nice guy, Samantha. I'm so disarming. And when they investigate your disappearance, they won't arrive within a mile of my doorstep. And if they do, I'm sure they'll be leaving thinking about how awful it is that such a nice man has to toss and turn at night over two missing teenagers. No one's gonna think that I had any part in it. And you can't blame them either, Samantha, because you know how I can be. Jesus, Samantha, it could be anyone, but at least it was me, right? The last thing you ever expect was the nice guy to be is an awful person. I'm an awful person, Samantha, and no one's ever going to know. Wow, it's a really scary story. It's a good way to start this night. And we move on to our second story, posted by user perfect underscore nightmare. Someone broke into our home. It was every family's nightmare. My wife and I had the day off work, and we had taken our son out for lunch and some family bonding time. But as we approached our home, something felt off. I had a growing sense of dread the closer we got. As our house came into view, I could see that the front door was wide open. Someone had broken into our home. I told my family to wait outside in case the intruder was still inside. They obliged, and I slowly and silently made my way to our house. As I stepped into the living room, I saw broken furniture, nothing in its correct place, just utter chaos. Was this person looking for something? Did they have malicious intent? Why our home? Why us? Next, I walked to our kitchen. The fridge was emptied. Dishes and food were thrown all over the room. What kind of person had broken into our home? A homeless person who just needed food? If so, why had they destroyed the living room? That's when I heard it. Footsteps in the bedroom. The intruder was still in our house. I took a brief moment to be grateful that I had asked my wife and son to stay outside. It was impossible to decipher this person's motive so far, but I was about to come face to face with the person that forcefully entered our home, and I would demand answers. I crept toward the bedroom slowly, very slowly. I approached the door and focused on the sliver of light slipping through the crack. I could see faint shadows dancing in the light. I raised my hand, placed it against the door, and took a deep breath, readying myself for whatever may be on the other side. I pushed the door open and stepped through the threshold with authority. I couldn't believe my eyes. I actually rubbed my hands over them, thinking I was imagining things. There, in my son's bed, was a curly young girl with curly blonde hair, and she stared at me with wide eyes. She must have been terrified. I must have been a few feet taller and at least 100 pounds heavier than her. I must have se- I must have been a sight to see for that little girl, but she should have considered that before breaking into my own home. I called my wife and son to see what I found. Is that a human, Papa? Why, yes, it is, baby bear. That's our dinner. Whoa, whoa. I did not expect that kind of plot twist. It was Goldilocks. Oh. I see. That was very good. That was very good. I really like that. I like the plot twist. I really like the plot twist. I really dig that. I really dig that. So yeah, I'm gonna take a bathroom break, and then we head on to our last story, and we are going to wrap it up. So yeah, enjoy the lo-fi. Hello, I am back. And on to our last story for Stories to Tell Your Girlfriend, Episode 1. This one was written by user Winsome Jesse. 10 Simple Rules for Surviving the Apocalypse. Rule number 1. Find a breathing mask immediately. There are things in the air, small, microscopic things, that float like pollen and enter through your nose and mouth. If you've ever been out and thought you smelled something sweet like cotton candy, it's too late. Your lungs are about to liquefy, slowly, cell by cell. Sorry about that. Rule number 2. Only drink from fast-moving streams. It doesn't matter if you've got water filtration unit. Never collect water from ponds or lakes. It's not because of the dead bodies. It's the half-dead ones. They can stay down there for months at a time, just waiting for someone who doesn't know better. Rule number 3. Stay away from settlements. Any half-decent settlement already has too many mouths to feed. If you ask, they'll let you in, but they won't let you stay. They've got all those hungry mouths after all. Rule number 4. Don't eat the birds. I don't know what these new birds are, but they smell like tar and their meat can burn a hole in your throat. Stick with canned goods and cockroaches. Rule number 5. It's safe to travel by night. But if you hear a sound like a ticking stopwatch, stand perfectly still and wait until the sun comes up. They'll pass you by as long as you don't move. Rule number 6. Don't aim for the heart or the brain. Aim for the legs if they can walk. Aim for their arms if they can crawl. Don't assume anything will stay down for good. Just make sure you can run faster than they can. Rule number 7. Red sores heal with time. White sores will rot down to the bone within 48 hours. Remove the limb, cauterize the wound. That should buy you a few weeks at least. Rule number 8. The living don't knock. If you're holed up somewhere with 4 walls and hear someone knocking, ignore it. Whatever it is, it needs you to let it in, and you really don't want to do that. Rule number 9. Don't be alarmed if you see angels. It's normal to see beings made of soft light descending from the heavens. It just means there are parasites attached to your optic nerves. They can't kill you, they'll just consume your eyeballs from the inside out. And rule number 10. Always leave 1 bullet for yourself. It's a brave, difficult thing to make a life here in the after. But eventually, you'll get tired. Eventually, you'll see that all of the things you can do during the apocalypse, surviving might just be the worst. But that's for you to discover. Until then, good luck. Wow. This is really good. Like that story is really unsettling and terrifying. If you came across that in like a fucking apocalypse, that would scare the shit out of me. And yeah. So yeah, those are the 3 stories to tell your girlfriend. And I'm for sure telling mine those stories. So if you enjoyed this little podcast or project, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.